Take me back to Janky Town. I want to get back to Janky Town.
Turds.
Oh, but I want to go back to the Upper Decker.
Yeah.
One, a great... So I've played on the exact ball field. Have you ever seen the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode where he's in a softball game in Central Park?
Oh, no, I was thinking of the one where he takes the
trip to Cooperstown and the bust fraudulent baseball Hall of Fame. Sorry.
No, I haven't seen that. I was thinking of the one where the guy got off of a murder charge because he was at the baseball game when they were filming the Curb Your Enthusiasm, and that was his alibi.
Oh, this happened in real life.
This happened in real life.
IRL.
It was a episode on one of my other favorite podcasts, apart from this one now, Case File.
Yeah, thank you for slipping that in there.
Yeah, an Australian true crime podcast.
Okay, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was a guy in Los Angeles who was pretty much good for this murder, but he swears he was at the baseball game. Is there any way you can prove you were there? There's no way to prove he was there. He didn't have the ticket stub, but they were filming that episode where Larry David takes a prostitute in his Prius.
Oh, this
so he
is
can
the
take
Dodgers
the HOV.
game.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
so
he
that's
gets pulled over.
He gets pulled over, but then he gets to the game, and they went through all of the footage and found this
him.
guy who was there, and it led to his not being found guilty of murder.
What a charmed moral existence.
Yeah.
Larry David lives.
Yeah. Larry David said, "This was the only good thing I've done in my life."
Well, acquitting a man of murder is pretty up
yeah.
there. Well, that's funny. I was thinking, I haven't not seen all of that show, but I guess I'm keeping up enough because I've understood the references so far. There's another episode where they go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But it's such a bust because it doesn't look it's like a. Obviously, they just didn't want to make the trip up here to shoot it here. But it looks it's funny like when you see it from a person who's driven down Main Street in Cooperstown 100 million times, and it's just like kind of pathetic.
Did they have it in like a double wide? And there's some.
No, it's like it looks like there's like some steps, and it doesn't. That's the funny thing. It doesn't. If when I describe it, it won't sound different at all. Like there's some steps, and then like sort of like a quaint village type building. But when you see the footage of it, it's just funny how like, but so there's one episode where I think it might be in some of the later seasons. He's when he moves to New York after he gets divorced, I think in the storyline, he's playing in a softball game, and there's a pickup softball league, in Central Park on these fields. And I'm pretty sure it's the exact field. And I know this because I played on that field one game with Robbie Orenstein. Yeah. You don't remember Robbie Orenstein?
Yeah.
He's so great. I would love to have him on the show. And he somehow, just because he's like a quintessential New York person, like worked his way into this league somehow, and it's just full of all these characters, like these just lifelong New York City dudes. And there's just something about like a New York City person. I don't know what it is. I'm so obsessed with New York City, and I don't know why. I can't pin it down, but it's just this never ending.
Did you ever live there?
No, I never have. Maybe that's why, because I've only ever visited, and every time I go there, it's like the allure is always fresh and there. Real. But there's something, just like very, very romantic about it.
Yeah.
Understanding that it's like a big garbage pile, but maybe that's part of the appeal too. I don't know.
Got a theme.
But I think about like the infrastructure in New York City. Like one analogy I like to make a lot is like in life, like on like the sort of positive or optimist, pessimist spectrum. Like you can look at New York City and think about how terrible everything is, and like you're living in a box in a hole with rats, and there's like people shitting, and subways are always late, they're closed, you got to take the bus, blah 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 blah, every like possible thing can go wrong. But then like if you flip that on its head, like it's actually a miracle that New York City functions at all.
It's incredible.
It's a miracle. Every day people get up and everybody goes and does their job. The bus driver drives the bus, someone drives this train. Everyone takes it completely for granted. There's a how much people, how much shit people throw on the street.
If the garbage people stopped for one day, the whole thing would shut down.
Most powerful people in the world. It's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's in the whole infrastructure of it, that it's
under trains running
That
underground.
that
The
it's
amount of weight.
underground?
There's 200-ton buildings, and they're sitting on top of dirt, and there's a train that runs underneath.
Yeah, man. And a lot of the island, Manhattan Island, was not originally there. Like if you're familiar with the southern tip, for example, like Water Street
Like
used
Battery
to be
Park?
Yeah, Battery Park's the Bowling Green subway stop in Battery Park. That was the original waterfront. All that is earth that's been
Wow.
pushed out.
Looks like Holland.
Yeah, just
New Amsterdam.
pushed out into the into the water, and on the eastern side too. It's been a lot pushed out.
I did not know that.
A lot of that was from the foundations of buildings, and the island was originally very mountainous, but they
I knew it was
leveled
forested.
pushed it out. Yeah, Times Square was a big river or a big lake actually.
Wow.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, absolutely astounding. And in what, 250 years maybe, which is a blip on the map.
Yeah. 4, 6. Yeah, I mean, it was a settlement from the 1600s.
So I guess we're getting up
believe.
there.
Yeah, and Henry Hudson
The Half Moon.
discovered it.
Did he? Scholars maintain that.
Scholars maintain. Well, no, you can read the original. If you read the original journey, there was about 600 Native Americans living there, the Manhattoes Indians.
On the whole.
In the
Jump on the
island,
whole
yeah,
island.
yeah, and they had an exhibit in the Museum of Natural History of Henry Hudson's crew, their diaries, and some of it was so forested, and some of their faces were so disfigured by insect bites, and it was incredible. And
Swampland,
they
right?
just kept going up the river and until their boats couldn't go any further because it got narrow, and that's Albany now.
That makes
It
sense
was
somehow
Fort Orange.
too.
Yeah, I guess I am. I know. I enjoy New York history. New York City history could be another interest, but definitely not.
Well, by no means are either of us professionals in that regard. I'm certainly not.
History
but you
professional?
seem to know quite a bit.
Well, I listen to podcasts. History podcasts.
You're going to be a professional in a different subject after listening to this. I want to go back to the upper decker because, and then I'll get back to the Larry David story. Listening to this podcast is going to be like a disruption of time or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So my last thought on the upper decker is someone told me so actually these two tie together. The
Yeah.
reason I was talking about the baseball field because when I played this game, actually I went back a second time to meet Orenstein with my friend from Germany, Andre.
Yeah.
And there was a team there called the Upper Deckers.
Did they know?
Of course they knew. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know it's a fair question.
Yeah. Some
That's
people don't.
condescending.
You know.
I think because it is a baseball reference too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Judging by my brief observations of these fellows,
Yeah.
they were the type of
They knew.
they knew. I think they knew.
They probably were
Hence my-
perpetrators themselves. Team initiation.
One wonders. Team initiation. All right. You want to play on the big ball club with the big boys. I think it's the perfect thing to do. And maybe I missed my chance, but this
Yeah.
is a perfect house party activity
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're in a stranger's house
Yep.
full of other strangers.
Yeah.
Everyone's intoxicated.
Yeah.
No one remembers anything. It's the perfect the perfect situation. And it almost adds, you're almost doing a public service because you're adding to the allure and the fervor of the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it.
I think
It's not out of. I mean, I would want to do it. I would love to do it, but at a party, with all the people, I think I'd get held up. I think physically,
I see what you
biologically,
mean.
I couldn't
It's
do
a little bit of pressure.
it. I would love nothing more than to poop in the top of someone's toilet.
Thank you for finally
Party.
spelling out,
Yeah.
just in case no one was there
In
yet.
case you did.
It's when you remove the lid of the tank of the toilet and defecate
Yeah.
in the tank. But what I've heard, what I never realized, I just thought it was the novelty of the actual act of doing it
Yeah.
and seeing it in there. Although I don't know when someone would check. But apparently, and maybe this happens, I have to guess this happens more after it's had some time to marinate in there.
Yeah.
When you flush it, like even if, and this would be kind of be the perfect storm too, but say you flush like a clean bowl of water,
Yep.
it comes out brown,
Yeah.
which makes sense because it's the, you know, the water in the tank coming into the bowl, swirling around.
Yep.
But I never even, and that brings into the ghost aspect for me because it's like this creature
Yeah.
coming out of nowhere. But I never even thought about that aspect of it, which is a whole nother thing to consider.
Yeah.